The Consortium Central Office can now control which bibliographic metadata fields can be edited by the network zone members, preventing unwanted edits of specific fields. This can help with the quality control and uniformity of the network zone records. To restrict the editing of certain fields, make sure you're logged into your Alma network and go to Alma Configuration, Resources, Cataloging, Metadata Configuration. Select the record format you'd like to edit, in our example, Mark 21 Bibliographic. Open the Other Settings tab, and under Configuration Tables, open the Fields Restriction Policy mapping table. Our table is currently empty. Suppose we don't want the network members to edit the 035 fields of the network zone records. To add such a restriction, click Add Row. Under Tag, enter the field number, 035 in our case. You can restrict adding and editing the field by selecting True here, and you can restrict deleting the field by selecting True here. You can optionally select an overwrite cataloger level. If you'd like catalogers above a certain level to be able to override the restriction and edit the record. Click Add Row. The restriction to add, edit, or delete an 035 field is in place. Now let's add another, more nuanced restriction. Suppose we want to restrict editing of all fields in the 600 range that use authority values from the vocabulary of the National Library of Israel. Once again, click Add Row. For the tag, we'll enter 6xx to cover the entire 600 range of field numbers. Here again, we'll place the restriction on both adding and editing and deleting. For vocabulary, enter the code of the vocabulary you'd like to restrict. This is the same code you use in subfield 2 of the 600 field. In our example, NLI for the National Library of Israel. For Mark 21 and Cormac records, where the vocabulary is determined by one of the second indicator values shown here, rather than via subfield 2, enter the appropriate letter code as shown. Note that if you leave the vocabulary field empty, then the restriction will apply to all vocabularies. Click Add Row. We now have a restriction to add, edit, or delete all fields in the 600 range that use the NLI vocabulary. When you're done adding restrictions, save the mapping table, and then save the profile details. Now let's go to the member institution to see what the restriction looks like in the metadata editor. In the member institution, search for a network zone record and edit it. You'll notice the 035 fields are restricted and cannot be edited. Of the 650 fields, only the field that uses the NLI vocabulary is restricted. If you try to add a restricted field, for example, 035, the field is not added and you get an error message. And that's how you restrict editing bibliographic metadata fields by network zone members.